Hi, my name is Megan James, and I am an alumni of Idle Courses, and I'm currently consulting as a learning designer for Curriki Studios, which uses H5P, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So, H5P stands for HTML5 package. It's a web based way to create and share and reuse interactive content. There's two places you can access it. It's h5p.org or h5p.com. The .org is more for trying things out. The .com is paid, so you can utilize it to really embed it in your courses, or you can use something like Curriki Studio, which is just currikistudio.org, uses a lot of the H5P content or activities in their own platform, and then you can publish it to different learning management systems or embed it on your website. If you're a teacher, you can use it in Google Classroom. So that's a great way to use some of the beneficial pieces of H5P. So I'm going to walk you through a couple pieces of how H5P works using the h5p.org or .com websites, and then talk about some of the things I like about it and some of the drawbacks it might have. Okay, so we are going to jump right in. I am on the h5p.org website, and right on the very top of the website, they give you an example of one of the many activities you can create. So with this, it's like concentration or a memory game. So you click on a card and you flip over the next one. If it's not a match, oh, I can match it right there, and you see it grays it out. So that's just an example of one type of interaction you can use with H5P. If you go to examples and downloads, it will list all of the different types of activities that you can do. There are things that just provide information, like accordion, or let's see, accordion, or you can do like course presentation, which is similar to a PowerPoint slide type activity. There's audio activities, a lot of image things you can do. There's a lot of, you can use drag and drops, hotspots, and there's a lot of question based activities as well. So you can have a text and you can pick some of the words you want people to be able to drag and drop. With H5P, there are there are five interactions you'll see that are actually, you can embed other activities into them. So for example, this column one here, if I click on it, it's basically like a web page. It'll just keep scrolling and you can keep adding activities. So this gives us an example of one here. It's loading very slowly. So here they have a picture with some text. And then so the students or the learners would look at the picture, read the text. As they scroll down, there's some questions. They can answer the questions and check their answers right away. Another benefit to this format, they can retry. You can give customized feedback. They don't show that here, but you can customize your feedback. Here's an example of a drag and drop. So you can see the drag areas highlighted as I started to drag. So I can label each person with their title. and check my answer, and you can see which ones you got right. One thing it does as a default usually is it takes points away if someone gets something wrong, but that is something you can change in your settings, which is nice. Let's go back to examples. So that's an example of how they embedded a drag and drop. They embedded some question type activities. They put a link or a picture with some text in into the column layout. You can also just do standalone activities as well. So for example, if I wanted to do this one, it just asks me a question, shows me a picture, I guess it on my own, and then I can check my answer, kind of like a flashcard. So if you want to practice building, you can create an account. Here is where mine is. You can see a couple things that I've already built, but I'm going to build something new just to show you what it looks like. So I will choose an activity to create. Let's do dialogue cards. Dialogue cards are very similar to flashcards as well. So this is what it looks like when you start to build an activity. And best practice says to go ahead and click this enter full screen, so that you can really, especially if you're working with images, you can really see what you're working with. So you'll put in a title. This won't necessarily show in the activity. And then a heading. This will show. So you might want to put something like Unit 1 vocabulary. And you can do normal, so people would just scroll through the different dialogue cards, or you can do repetition, so it'll keep going around and looping. You can give some instructions. So test your knowledge of the unit vocabulary by turning over each card. Now down here is where you're going to add cards. So it says text and answer, but you can really use it as like a flashcard. So on the text side, I might just put a vocabulary word. Definition. No, that's confusing. Excavate. And on this side, you'll put your answer. To dig up. I'm not totally sure that's the correct answer, but it's just for demonstration purposes. You'll also notice you do have some text editing capabilities here. For the text, you only have normal, but if you do it bold, it'll show up a little better. I like to do mine with bold. Same here. I think you can only do normal, but you can make it bold to make it stand out a little bit. And then you can add an image if you choose to, which is kind of nice. So these are just the images I have available. So I'll just insert one so you can see what it looks like. A nice thing you can also do is add an audio file. So if you want to read the card for accessibility, you can do that as well. It gives you the option to add some tips or hints for your learners as well. So maybe my tip is, it is what paleontologists do. And then I'll come back up here and then I can add the next one. This time I'm just going to say word 2, definition 2, new image, just so you can see. You can also add alternative text for the image, deadline for screen readers, and you can have tips for this one too. So then once you've created all of your cards, you'll notice that there's behavioral settings. You can make it, you can change the settings. You can make them random. If you have a lot of text, you can scale it to fit. There's all different, each activity has different behavioral settings. So I encourage you to check that when you're creating a new kind of activity. Then we can go also to text overrides and translations, which you may not use a ton, but if you're working with people that speak another language, you could put the translation here. Or if you wanted to change where it says turn, you can say flip. You can say another word, or maybe go back. So if you want to change what you're doing, you can, or you, if you want to change what the cards say, or what, I'm sorry, if you want to change what the screen says for different things, this is where you would do that. Or you can put translations as well. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Then, because I'm in full screen, I have to go to proceed to save. It'll bring me back down here, and then I have to be sure that I click save down here. And now you can see your cards right here. That's my little tip or hint I gave. It is what paleontologists do. So to dig up, and I flip it over, you can see here it says another word. Go to the next, flip, definition 2. This says go back. So maybe if you're working with younger people or people that aren't strong readers, instead of previous, you can say go back. And that is a sample. So I also pulled up h5p.com. That is paid. There is you can sign up for a free demo for 30 days. And if you want to utilize any of the things you create, you're going to very soon have to go through h5p.com. However, I do want to throw in a plug here for Curriki. And you can see I've been working on lots of different things for Curriki Studio. And you can create projects with playlists and utilize most of the H5P activities in here. So to kind of wrap up, one thing I like about H5P is that it's pretty easy to use. It feels a little overwhelming at first, but once you start digging into it, it's really simple. It looks like you're doing coding, but you don't have to have any coding knowledge. As a classroom teacher during the time of the pandemic, when I discovered H5P, I was like, oh my goodness, I wish that I had known about this during remote teaching, because it's all the things that I was trying to do with Google Slides that I found ways to do it, but this would have just been so much more simple, and students wouldn't have been able to, mess up text boxes and all that kind of stuff. So it's great for that type of learning. And it doesn't appear customizable at first, but once you learn it, and then you can you can use things like Canva to really um, make your activities nicely designed. Scratch that. Um, Once you've really learned it, you can use something like Canva to design like slide backgrounds or images, and really personalize it and make it the way you want it to be. So that's what's really nice about it. Some of the some of the cons, the things I don't love about it, is that it does feel a little clunky. It can limit you a little bit on how you can personalize it or customize it. And um, there's too many steps. Like if I'm in the middle of something, I want to preview how it looks. I have to I have to save it, come out of it, go to preview it, and then click out of that and go back into edit. So it's a few too many steps just to preview what I'm doing right in the middle, different than like Storyline, where you can preview just the slide you're working on, make sure your interactions are going the way you want them to. But for something that's quick and easy and builds interactive materials for people to use, it's a good solid tool. And I think more people, if they knew about it, would probably use it. All right, thanks.